And now, ladies and gentlemen, the final round for the Miss Vortex Beauty competition. Why, it's been a long and exhausting 20 minutes where hundreds of contestants have battled to be the most beautiful, most sexy, most vortexy of all the creatures in time and space. In all my years as broadcaster, I have never witnessed so many beautiful creatures in one place.
Hey, Matt, what are you doing? What's with all the creatures?
Oh, hey, Taylor. This is the 1075th Annual Miss Vortex Beauty Pageant Championships. It's been one hell of an afternoon, buddy.
Huh. I never would have figured a Cyberman would consider itself beautiful.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to introduce your finalists. They are some of the universe's most beautiful creatures, and in mere minutes, it will be up to you at home to vote who is the winner. Our final contestants are a Cyberman. This silver nemesis is no stranger to the battlefield. In his free time, however, he loves to lay out on the beach in a silver-strung bikini and delete his worries.
I am just so excited to be here.
Our next contestant has taken the au naturel look to the nth degree. He's hairy, he's scary, he's a robot, he's the Yeti! Oh, you.
Matt, I'm not sure how safe it is to have all these creatures on board the TARDIS. I mean, TARDIS, why are you letting him do this?
I enjoy the pageantry.
I don't know, Matt. This might present some sort of threat. Maybe.
Third in our lineup of finalists comes from the deepest caverns on Mars, one of the elite warriors of an honorable race. He is the Ice Warrior!
I will bathe in the blood of your greatest warriors. Also, I wish for peace in the Middle East.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
Matt, seriously, this could really... So, see, look, there it is. That's the cloister bell. Imminent danger. I really think that we should...
And finally, our last contestant, born from a distant mine and brought forth to this universe as an invisible enemy, currently inhabiting the body of Dr. Simeon, it's the Great Intelligence!
As the Doctor fell to my Whispermen, so shall the rest of the universe.
See? Look, Matt, you have to send them home.
Now is the time for you, the universe, to vote on who should be the next Miss Vortex. If you want the Cyberman, text Cybus to 5575784 now. If you want the Yeti, text Harry to 5575784 now.
I don't even have that many text minutes on my phone.
If you want the Ice Warrior, text Bloody Murder to 5578. Wait. Hey, wait. What happened to Simeon? Where's Simeon? Simeon!
I have inhabited a new body. Now I shall command the armies of the Ice Warriors and lay waste to the universe.
Alright, that's it. Door opening noise! Okay, there. Done. Universe saved.
Oh, man! I was gonna do the swimsuit competition. No. No, I will not get into a swimsuit. No, Taylor, no. Come on! No way! No, you do it!
Oh no. This wasn't my idea. You do it.
No, you do it! You do it! No, you do it! Jinx, you owe me a Coke! Oh. I don't even have money for a Coke. I miss the Yeti.
You're listening to Voices from the Vortex, episode 16, Just Troughton About, broadcasting October 4th, 2014.
Broadcasting by way of Gallifrey. Stand by for podcast. This is Voices from Vortex.
I swear I'm never wearing those bikinis again. Work out a little before the next bikini season.
Yeah, that was not pretty.
Hi guys!
Hey, everyone!
Welcome to the October podcast. Woo!
October.
such a beautiful time of the year.
Yeah.
The leaves are changing here on Gallifrey from a beautiful silver to a burnt sienna. It's almost like being on Earth, except far, far away.
The children are carving their Dalek heads and putting them on the front stoop, and then the other bad children are coming along and stomping.
I got stuff all over my foot. Sorry about that.
So, welcome to the podcast. This is episode 16.
Troughton About.
Troughton About.
You know, I had the chance to meet the Doctor once in his Troughton persona.
Yeah.
He was a little weird, a little bowl cutty,
Yeah.
a little schizophrenic in what things he wanted to do. That's okay. That's okay, though. He was a good guy.
You think he'd find some clothes that fit, too?
You think?
You think? I mean, for running, really. He's got to run a lot. I think I need something with some...
Maybe that's why they don't fit, is he was running so much.
Yeah.
Just lost all the weight
all
right
the
away.
seams, yeah.
I've shrunk so much!
This is my fitness regeneration.
He did wear a Fitbit Flex, I will say.
He only ate grilled chicken breasts and quinoa.
You know, one of the things about Troughton's era that's so cool is that they introduced the sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of that. Obviously, later on, the uses that it would have, instead of just unscrewing a screw like we saw it do in a couple of episodes.
Yep.
But it was an interesting era. A lot of throwback monsters, like Cybermen and Yeti and the Great Intelligence.
A lot of Cybermen.
It was like 4 Cybermen
Yeah,
episodes.
there are a lot. So,
A couple Ice Warrior episodes. The only Ice Warrior episodes.
Well, we got some fun things coming this episode. We got a review of Web of Fear.
The Web of Fear. Perhaps. Maybe. With spiders. I'm excited.
Maybe spiders.
Maybe spiders.
It's kind of spooky. It's like a spooky Halloween episode.
Maybe that's why we put it in October.
I don't know.
One never knows with us!
And then we're going to have another Red Carpet Gallifrey interview.
Yes, Steve the Silent, I believe, is who you interviewed.
Yes, I did. He was
Unique guy.
Did I? Wait. Did I interview Steve the Silence? I don't remember. And then we'll have some headline news and some other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, everybody, enjoy and sit back, relax.
And don't forget, if you want to vote for us for the bikini, me perhaps, for the bikini championship there, please just text super awesome guy from Gallifrey to 8563. Oh, you're giving me the evil eye. I'm sorry.
You can just write Matt on a piece of paper and throw it into a vortex, and we'll get it.
We'll get it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. All right, sit back, listen, and enjoy the sultry sounds of this podcast.
See you in a bit.
Yeah.
Headlines from Gallifrey.
Cultbox.co.uk reports that Clara Oswald is the main character for Series 8. According to an interview with Moffat by Doctor Who magazine, Moffat stated, "One of the difficulties with her Impossible Girl story was that she wasn't actually a participant in it, because she didn't actually know about the mystery. Certainly she came to life immediately as a character, and as a performance with Peter Capaldi's Doctor, suddenly there was a different chemistry." Moffat continued to state, "Peter and Jenna absolutely belong together in Doctor Who. To be absolutely honest, there's also the problem of, you look at Matt Smith in a bow tie and you're looking for Karen Gillan. You just are. So it was tough for Jenna." I think he's right, though. I really do. She felt good with Matt Smith, but now that she's with Capaldi, it is a completely different dynamic, and it works.
Yeah, I mean, I think she has really stepped it up this season, and I don't think it's just because she's with Capaldi. You know, I think maybe Jenna Coleman has just grown as an actress too, but I think she's doing really well this season, and is a totally different character. I've kind of seen some clips from season 7, and like, oh yeah, she's, looked back and said, oh yeah, she is kind of different than she is now. She's more grown up now, I think. According to the Radio Times, Doctor Who could be moving to a later time slot of 8:30 for the rest of the series. This is due to the return of program Strictly Come Dancing, which will begin airing its new season Saturday, September 27th at 7 p.m. So, here's the question. Will the kids stay up?
This is the latest that we've ever seen Doctor Who on, and I don't. It's well, and really, is it a kid show? Yeah, but it's not put into a position where it could be a kid show. Honestly, kids aren't staying up to watch it. They're gonna go to bed, get up on Sunday, and watch it recorded.
Yeah.
So I don't think really the time that it airs matters that much.
Right. Well, and do we think? I mean, I've heard a little about. Do we think this is still suitable for kids? You know, is it starting to get a little more too serious or too? And I don't think so. I don't think it should matter. Kids, it's not gory, it's not gruesome, there's no blood. It's scary a little bit, sure, but outside of that, it doesn't have adult themes to it. I think this is a kid's show. I think people are being a little too cautious about what they show their kids. Yeah, I think people are worried that this doctor maybe isn't as friendly as the others, and maybe kids may not respond to that. But, you know, I think they will. I think he can be fun, too. I think he's got his serious, but also he's a little more mysterious this time around, instead of just goofy and silly. I agree. This Christmas we'll get a little more frosty when Nick Frost, comedian and co-star of the Cornetto trilogy films, guest stars in the traditional holiday special for Doctor Who. The special will also guest star Michael Troughton, son of the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton. I'm excited. That's cool. Yeah, me too. That is really cool. It's cool to see Nick Frost in it. I mean, they're really good at pulling modern-day comedians and modern-day actors. But to see him, like, I never would have thought he would be on Doctor Who. But Michael Troughton, I mean, we've seen him once before. That's really cool. But that he's going to come back and do a full-on part, yes, that's legacy building right there. That's great. The only thing that would be cooler is if Simon Pegg could come back with Nick Frost and they could both be in it somehow. That'd be kind of neat. He'd have to, would he play a different character, or would he be the same guy? I don't know. He'd have to play somebody different, I guess. Make sure to check out all our news updates as they pertain to each new episode of Doctor Who on the Series 8 reviews on BroadcastGallifrey.com.
Voices from the Vortex is brought to you by...
Listen up, clone maggots. Are you Sontaran enough to join the 101st Sontar Legion? 10 billion clone brothers of yours are fighting across the galaxy to win the war. Learn honor of facing your enemies in glorious combat. Visit beautiful new worlds and annihilate them. Become a member of the Sontar army, and you too can be one of the Sontar brothers. Sontar! Sontar!
Alright, I think we have everything.
Let's check. Popcorn?
Check.
Drinks?
Check.
Candy?
Ooh, Twizzlers and Mike and Ike's double check.
Okay, I think we've got everything.
Oh no.
What's wrong?
We forgot something. Something important.
What? We have everything. What could we possibly forgotten?
Autopilot.
Father, what is the matter? You sent me a cable saying you're in grave trouble, and I have flown half the way around
Trouble?
the world.
Yes. Great deal of trouble.
Do you know what's happened to the doctor?
Oh, is he safe?
Isn't he with you?
No, he's in the tunnels. Arnold's gone to look for him. Father, what is going on?
Oh dear, I do hope he's all right. Captain, I know it seems hopeless, but we could find the doctor. Sure he could help us. Perhaps.
I've been thinking about what the doctor said. Anything we do, the intelligence always knows.
Aye, but wouldn't let it worry you. Doctor'll soon find a way out.
Don't do anything foolish. I am perfectly all right.
Yes, he is perfectly all right. Who are you? You will know soon enough.
So, Web of Fear.
Web of Fear.
No spiders.
I was hoping.
Unfortunately.
So much hope for spiders.
I'm a little disappointed. No spiders.
Could have been more
Yetis,
spiders.
Which was good.
The Yetis, yeah. There were a lot of Yetis.
There were. The one thing I didn't
Gaggly
realize about this
Yetis.
episode was it's basically a continuation of The Abominable Snowman.
Which we don't have.
Which we don't have, which is a lost episode, so that's why I didn't know. But it's like 4 episodes ago, which is really strange. The only other time I can think of that is Eccleston's era, where you had the Slovene like at the beginning, and then you had them again near the end of the season.
It's more. They do that a lot more with the themes every year, where like they come back to the theme in the New Who. But yeah, this was an actual sequel. They kind of did it with the Daleks and Hartnell era. Like the Dalek invasion of Earth was kind of a sequel to the Dalek, the Daleks episode, and kind of in that, oh hey look, Daleks.
Right.
But this was, you're right. No, this was. It opens with the very end from Enemy of the World. Right after Salamander gets sucked out.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And it then they land, and it's a direct sequel to the Abominable Snowman one. Yeah.
Yeah. There's this character Julius Travers, who I guess was in the Abominable Snowman. Maybe he was younger, but he was there in Tibet with them, where they had the Yetis and it's the Great Intelligence is the villain for this, which is great. I'm going to mention this now because I really love this, and when it happened in season 7, I really loved it. This happens after the Snowmen for the Great Intelligence, which is really cool.
It does, and actually, if I get the timeline right, the Snowmen is the Great Intelligence's first dealing with the Doctor. And then his next dealing with the Doctor is in the Abominable Snowman. And then it's this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then
this one he knows about the London Underground.
Because the Doctor left the box
the
there.
Doctor had the lunch box, with the London Underground on it.
It's a key strategic weakness.
I know, it's so great.
And then, of course, the last two that we see with the Great Intelligence, are the Bells of St. John, and then him and the Whispermen.
With the name of the Doctor.
The name of the Doctor. So, very timey-wimey.
It's assumed he's killed in the time stream,
Right.
But who knows?
No, it was very good. It was very well done. Here's something. One of the things that you guys hopefully have gone out and seen it, so we can talk about it and you know what we're talking about. But I love that this era of Doctor Who, the second Doctor era, they take 5 or 6 episodes and they make the most of them. Episodes don't feel like they drag on. Every now and then you get like that one during the Ice Warriors where Victoria was just running around and you're like, really? What are we doing here? But pretty much every episode felt like it was a piece of the story.
Yeah, it really did. They kept introducing new characters too. There was like a new character at least every episode.
Yeah.
You had the one soldier who was just I can't think of his name, but man, he was hilarious.
He was the worst soldier in the British Empire.
He really was. You thought, man, there's something silly, like something suspicious about him. But then he just turned out to be just useless. Is what it turned out to be.
The whole story was a horror story. You didn't know who was being controlled by the Great Intelligence.
Yeah,
you didn't know.
And
who was
that was the
behind
weird. That was the weird. The weird thing was throughout the whole episodes, they kept talking about how there was going to be, like, they thought somebody was working for the Great Intelligence. They were working for them, and then at the end, they don't really answer that. There was the one, everyone kept, well, maybe it's Colonel Lethbridge Stewart, which we'll talk about in a second, or maybe it's some of the others, but it was Arnold, Arnold. It was Arnold, one of the generals or one of the colonels that was there.
Well, he was after they pushed him into the webbing. Yes,
right. His body was taken over, but they never found out if somebody was working for.
And I think that plays well into the story. You spend 4 or 5 episodes worrying about who is and who isn't, and all of a sudden it gets to the end and you're like, well, no one was. They were so scared of what was going on, and that the Great Intelligence used that. Sending out his Yetis like he did to take out the military and to take over certain areas, and everybody, all the humans were running around trying to figure it out, and I think the Great Intelligence kind of counted on them being scared and being stupid. It didn't have to necessarily take anyone, but it did in the end to get to the Doctor once it realized the Doctor was there. So the big introductory character in this episode, though, this guy shows up here, and he shows up again 100 times after this, was the Brigadier, but before he was the Brigadier.
Yeah.
Colonel
that was
Alistair
great.
Lethbridge
That's
Stewart.
great to see. I've talked about this before when you watch these old classic ones, but it's like history in the making. You're watching history. You're like, oh, this is the first time the Brigadier shows up, and then, he's going to be they didn't know back then, but he's going to be this huge character, and it's really cool. So,
well, and his experiences here color who his character is. We all know that the next time we see him is during the invasion, which is it's about 3 stories ahead, and when we see him again, he's running UNIT, United Nations Intelligence Task Force, and it's all because of the things that happen in this story. Brigadier is introduced as a colonel of some of the military of a different grouping of military. He comes in and takes over sort of the operation there, and while he does, he pulls in a bunch of men, and they actually end up going to the surface and facing off against the Yeti. And it was very interesting to me that while you're watching this, it's this great battle sequence where everybody but the Brigadier just gets absolutely trounced. They are all murdered by the Yeti.
He was badass. he knew what he was doing up there.
But he watched all of his men get killed. And, before that, he keeps telling the Doctor, and he tells everyone there, this is how we're going to do it. This is how we're the military. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to take care of things. And then he gets out there and he does it. And he gets back. And at the aftermath of that is he's talking to the Doctor, and he says, I've run out of ideas. He says, I have no way of defeating them. Doctor, what do you suggest? And he's basically looking to everyone else to come up with a better plan than he had, which was blow it up with rockets, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
He sees the Doctor formulate this plan, and when they go through the end result of it all, when the Doctor tries to get the Great Intelligence to take him over so he could foil him somehow, and then the machine gets destroyed by Jamie being stupid. You get sort of an ending where it's like, well, all's well that ends well, but it really took the Doctor to do it. And it's so interesting.
The ending was weird. The Doctor, it was one of those the Doctor lies sort of things, and he said, no, leave me in here. He didn't tell them why. Obviously, he didn't want the Great Intelligence to know what he was doing, but he had this plan. He was like, I was going to absorb the Great Intelligence and destroy him or whatever, and then the ending was really strange because he got mad. He was like, "No, this is what I was going to do," and then it was almost like they ran out of time in the episode. I don't know if you remember how the last
it
5
did feel
minutes were.
very.
But it was like, all right, well now it's over. All right, we got to go. Come on, Jamie. Come on, Victoria. And they're like, wait, Doctor. He's like, no, we got to go. And then it was like, and you were like, what?
It was super quick.
Yeah, they didn't even get in the TARDIS and it disappeared. Like, that's usually how it ends. That didn't even happen. It was just like they walked off the screen.
Well, and
the end.
Maybe it did run long. That's possible. Watching it, I got the impression that the Doctor figured things out. He was going to do something. This is the first time he really acted menacingly about doing stuff behind the scenes. He gets so upset that they ruined his plans, but everyone's okay with what happened. I feel like he's embarrassed. I feel like he's very upset about this, and he just wants to leave. Just like, I'm done. I want to go. Let's go. Let's get out of here.
Yeah,
I feel that way sometimes too. I know how I feel.
Yeah, the Doctor was interesting in this one. He had this plan to He did a lot of tinkering for a little while. He was messing with that little orb, and he got it to follow him, and then follow his commands, and then they put it in a Yeti, and they were going to control one of the Yetis, and then there was this whole thing with the little Yeti statues. where I guess they controlled the Yetis, or they summoned them or something. It was all kind of weird. But I want to cut to a clip. You won't be able to see what's going on if you're just listening to this podcast, but if you go on the YouTube channel, you'll be able to see it. Mm-hmm. It's probably the funniest part of the whole series, this whole story, and so we're going to cut to it real quick. Here we go. So that's the Doctor's fighting style. His
flail
windmill, he just flinging his arms against the Great Intelligence, and then just flopping down on the ground. That's
right.
That's the thing is, even in some of the new stuff, we don't see the Doctor fight, and only until maybe like Pertwee when he's doing his karate.
Yeah,
that's it, and now we see why, because he's not very good. But it's really funny to see him just sort of beat the back of that Yeti, like, no, still me.
I'll tell you what, something that I've found about Troughton's era, they're laying down the framework for stuff they would do forever. But the big ones, you're right, him lying to his companions, in both this and Enemy of the World, just him when he pretends to be Salamander and he's lying to his companions. He's starting to get the idea that maybe I know what I'm doing and no one else does. But you're right. He exerts a little bit of effort because he's frustrated, because nothing's going his way. He's trying to do all this stuff behind the scenes, and it's just not working. He's just not smart enough for it yet.
Well, and this Doctor, he's really childish at times. I mean, that's the nature of the character. It's really interesting to see. He's playing with the toys, he's tinkering with the electronics, and then he's sort of, in the last story he was giddy about playing in the beach, and then in this, he gets mad and he kind of throws a fit at the end, and then we see him like fighting the Yeti, and I mean that's really interesting that he's the hero. He's the one where we're supposed to be looking up to and looking for the answers from. So.
I read something once about how whenever the Doctor regenerates, he always regenerates into a form that he feels is necessary for his continued survival. That, when he was old to begin with, and he sort of, as things started increasing, as threats started becoming a little more science fiction, and as he was losing Susan and Barbara, when he regenerates into a younger man who acts younger, and it sort of attracts more people to him. He gets Jamie, he gets Victoria, he gets Zoe in the end, and it sort of brings people around to like, oh, we kind of like this guy. He's fun, he's young. But you can definitely see where he's frustrated that he tries to do these things behind the scenes, it doesn't work. And so maybe that's why when he regenerates, when we finally get to the end of the season with Troughton, and he becomes Pertwee, he becomes much more of a physical, active Doctor. He fights more. He knows Akkadian judo or whatever it is, and even more so than that, because he's stranded on Earth at that time. He needs his scientific resources, so he's smarter about things. And,
that's really interesting. I'm gonna have to think on all the Doctors and where they changed it, like 9 to 10, what was needed there. 10 to 11.
Well, and kind of look at that too. You're right. 9 was so tormented by the destruction of Gallifrey and the end of the Time War. And what happened? He became a loner, and everything about him spoke loner. He had an accent that he had never had before. Even if his own people could hear him, they wouldn't recognize him. And he was tall and skinny, and just his attitude and his face and the way he reacted to things. But then he meets Rose, and Rose makes him better. So he regenerates into someone boyish and young and romantic, someone that Rose maybe could fall in love with. He finally forgave himself a little bit, enough to say, maybe there's someone who could really love me, and he became someone that Rose could really fall in love with. But by the time he loses her at the end, he needs to be someone who doesn't appear to have all that pain, so he regenerates into someone the youngest he's ever been. I don't know, it's very interesting.
That's an interesting thing to think about. I'll have to, once I see some more of the other Doctors and see how their characteristics are, it'd be interesting to look at that perspective.
Well, and Troughton really pulls that out in this story, I think. You really
Yes.
see him using his charm.
Yes. I have to say, I think this episode was titled incorrectly. It should have been The Fungus of Fear. Because they kept talking about a fungus. And I'm like, well, shouldn't you be calling it a web since it's called the Web of Fear? They had the web at the beginning and the TARDIS was stuck in the web, but that was it. They're very poorly titled.
Well, that's another thing, too. What happened there?
Well...
Was that the Great Intelligence trying to capture them?
I think so. I think the Great Intelligence...
He wanted the Doctor and he knew the TARDIS was there?
And he wanted to trap him in the TARDIS. And then what the Doctor did, which was really clever, is right before they landed, he shifted like 200 feet. He shifted the TARDIS like 200 feet from where they were so that he couldn't trap them in that web again, which is really interesting. I thought that was I was like, oh, so I guess he's got more... Control of it. Although, I was thinking about when Salamander gets sucked out the door, he must not have control over like the oxygen bubble that's around. You know what I mean?
Well,
because I mean, New Who, they look out the doors all the time. They're standing there looking out into space.
How about that?
All sorts of stuff. So,
hey, look, squirrel. It's over there. Hi, Brigadier.
Let's see. I'm trying to think.
Any of you who've gone out and bought the DVD, and I sincerely, something I want to say, hey guys, if you're listening to this and you like our reviews and you really want to see these episodes, go buy them on DVD. They're all available. We review stuff. We have to watch it first. Go buy it. Buy the DVDs. They're so good. They're so worth every penny you'll spend on them.
Yeah, and if they don't have all of them, but Hulu Plus has a lot of classic Who that you can look up.
Oh yeah,
they have a lot of it. So that's where we'll be getting some of it here coming up. But these
point
we
is
had
this
to find.
though.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, with the DVDs, one of the episode was incomplete. They had just had the stills. You could just watch the stills. That was the one where they introduced the Brigadier.
Oh yeah, which was disappointing because
it was very disappointing.
The introduction of the Brigadier.
Like, that's the episode that he first shows up. Oh, man, could we have just seen that scene?
Right.
But I get it. Of course, we take what we can get. But the stills were good. Like, the stills, the actual freeze frames that they showed throughout it, the audio's all there. So the stills they show were really good. These DVDs are just so well put together.
They are. I would have really wished I could have seen The Abominable Snowman, because... if I'd have known this was, like, at first I was like, I don't really care about that. I mean, if it's missing, I'll watch it if it ever comes out. But, I mean, it's probably not that important. And then this one comes out, and I'm like, oh, that would have been really neat now to have seen that one. But,
if we ever find it, if it ever does come out, we will go back. I would love for his whole first season to show up. We're missing almost all of it. And if we could get...
I really want that first episode.
The Daleks.
A lot. I mean, I've heard some of the audio, but I'd really love to see it.
I read the Wikipedia entries where people were going over the synopsis of the story. My God. You want to talk about an amazing Dalek story. Seriously. But, no, Web of Fear really kind of introduced all the things, all the elements you wanted. All these episodes keep, like, at the end, and then the next one begins, and it picks up right where it left off. They did the same thing with the Ice Warriors. It's kind of cool to see that sort of continuity. It's like their adventures just keep continuing. These people never sleep.
I mean, they don't really do that much anymore. It's kind of it's always they go off, and then you see one of the other adventures later down the line, and there could have been some in between there. Who knows? But
they did the same thing at the very beginning of New Who. He picks up Rose, and then the very next episode, she's still running into the TARDIS, and he says, where do you want to go? And they go to the future. And then the end of that episode, they sort of fish and chips. Okay, let's go get some chips, and, you're paying. And then it sort of cuts with now they could do anything, but then it opens with, all right, we've done the future, now how about to the past? And it's like, oh, so this is the next day. This is like they went back to the TARDIS. And now what do you want to do? Let's go to the past.
Mm-hmm.
And he did the same thing with Martha.
Yeah.
Just one Donna, trip.
A little bit.
Yeah, he did a lot of the same thing with Donna.
You go to the future and then you go to the past. That's kind of the...
But no, but I mean, with Martha, he actually, he picks her up in the first episode. Second one, he says, just one trip. I'll just take you on one trip. And he takes her to the place, and then afterwards he's like, okay, I'll just do one more trip. Like, he keeps giving her one more trip. And then they go back home, and they do the Lazarus experiment, and then she's like, no, I'm signing up. And so there's like 3-4 episodes in a row, straight through, that are like the next moment. Which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, that kind of defeated my argument, what I just said. I guess you're right.
They did the same thing from 11th Hour to Beast Below.
Yeah.
Where she's in her 90 the whole time.
Yeah. All right, then.
But, hey,
But, and the Doctor's daughter, that where Martha's in the TARDIS and then it takes off, and then they... Yeah, okay.
But you know what? Other than like those 18 different instances where this happened, you're absolutely right.
All right.
Or like the end of Baker when he does like 3 stories in a row and he meets Adric and they leave E-Space and immediately he's going to Legopolis and they do 2 stories and then immediately he regenerates and they do a whole story. That was like 7 or 8 stories straight through. Or there was that whole season of Baker where he gets Romana and they do the Key to Time. There was the Trial of the Time Lord season with
all right. Anyway,
Baker.
Web of Fear. So I enjoyed Web of Fear. I really did.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Web of Fear.
There were those first 3 Hartnell stories at the very beginning.
All right, just
sorry.
All right. Anyway, I liked this one because the last one we saw, we talked about this. It was more. There was not a lot of sci-fi going on. It was all about
geopolitical scenarios. Weirdness and spying and stuff like that. And this one had the Yetis and it had the Great Intelligence, had some sci-fi to it. And they get to the lair at the end. It's this weird looking sci-fi
lab,
lair,
with a triangle where the Doctor sits in this little chair. And I mean, I like that kind of stuff. It's cool to see. So that's mostly why I really like this one.
It's interesting though. You're right. We said the Enemy of the World was like a sci-fi adventure, or not a sci-fi. A spy adventure. It's like a James Bond adventure, and then this one was more like a horror tale.
Yeah,
and it was everything.
They were trapped, but it was sort of a trap. It was almost not. I wouldn't want to say a bottle episode, but they were trapped in this place, and the fungus kept coming, and
it was a little.
Yeah,
it was a little bottle episode.
It was sort of like Time's Running Out, sort of one of those episodes. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
yeah,
it's like 42, where the thing was crashing into the sun, and it was like they had to figure it out by the end, or they were going to be in trouble. Well, this is like the fungus kept growing and growing, and it kept.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the list of episodes here on Wikipedia because I really want to see. I feel like there were like 4 or 5 stories in a row that were all just dramatically different, and it was. I think that's great writing.
Oh,
I really do.
Well, and that's the beauty of Doctor Who too, is you get all different kinds of episodes right one after the other. A future, a past, a modern day one where they're dealing with a threat. One's with monsters, one's with some weird kind of thing that's actually not a monster.
Yep.
I love the diversity. That's one of the great things.
There it is. Okay, so you've got we had for season 5, which is the season we're in right now with Troughton. The Tomb of the Cybermen was first, and that's a very archaeological dig, the Mummy type theme, where they're going deeper and deeper into this and more dangerous as they do. We don't have the Abominable Snowman, but then you have the Ice Warriors, which is a little more it's more of an adventure. That's sort of an action adventure one. The Enemy of the World is after that, which is a spy thriller. Web of Fear, which is definitely a horror story. And then, of course, we're missing Fury from the Deep and the Wheel in Space. But it just that season, just like every story just was different. Yeah. It's like it came out of nowhere. Yeah. And I like that. I like that a lot. I kind of wish they kind of did that with season 7, didn't they?
A little bit. I would think more than past seasons.
Yeah, well, because every episode was supposed to be like a movie, but Asylum of the Daleks was different from Dinosaurs on a spaceship. On a spaceship. Which is different from the Gunslinger from Town Called Mercy.
Right.
And so forth.
Cool. Well, that's all I got on this one. I mean, I really enjoyed it, and I would highly recommend it.
One of the best so far I think we've seen. Matched only by the Enemy of the World. I'm so glad they both came out at the same time. I'm glad.
Yeah, this one and the Enemy of the World are two that they had just found. So like these had just come out.
Yeah,
on DVD. So they
find
were
great deals on them too.
They were kind of new to everyone, and these were the two that they had come out with trailers for, like movie trailers. Like they put together some clips with some epic music and stuff. It was really interesting to see.
Well, and previously we had absolutely none of the Web of Fear. We did have, I think, one episode of Enemy of the World, and it was a Salamander-heavy episode. So we actually, we kind of had an idea of who Salamander was, but this was, to find this stuff, I know we talk about it all the time, but it was just a stroke of luck.
Yep.
So listen, next time we are going to be doing the next episode that we can, since the next two are actually missing. We'll be reviewing The Dominators.
Yes.
A happy tale, two lovelorn robots who have decided to marry, only to find that the courts won't let it happen.
Is that really it?
Not at all. That is more or less
the synopsis. I was all on board, man. I was like, oh, sounds good. It's like Romeo and Juliet. No, anyways.
All right, well, guys, listen. We'll see you back here for The Dominators, and remember, whenever there's a TARDIS and wherever there's a theater, there's probably us slacking off and watching movies.
Yep. Alrighty.
Hey guys, and welcome to the red carpet here on Gallifrey. This is such an incredible experience. Both Matt and myself have seen so many crazy, famous monsters and celebrities. All kinds of people from all walks of life and time zones, and so many more still to come. Gallifrey really has returned, and this is a monumental occasion. All the stars are out in their best outfits. Just moments ago, Matt saw a Jadoon, who was here in his battle armor. Earlier tonight, we saw some of the earlier incarnations of the Doctor, who was eager to get inside and see the citadel of the Time Lords once again. Oh, and here coming down the red carpet now is a Silent. Oh, sir, Mr. Silent, can we talk to you for a moment?
Oh, hello. Yeah, absolutely. Well, hello and howdy there, sir. My name's Steve. I'm Steve the Silent. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Right, well, if you don't mind, I want to ask you a few questions. Recently, you and your order, the Papal Mainframe, had a run-in with the Doctor. How have things settled since then?
Well, that's one of the funny things. It was just a couple of people from the Papal Mainframe that really thought it'd be funny to go back and prank the Doctor by, trying to end his life. We feel really bad about that. We sat down to tea with the Doctor, and we had a little cup of tea with some crumpets. They were delicious.
Oh, well, maybe you'll see him inside and you can talk to him. I really do love this black-on-black suit you have going on here. Tell us about it. Who designed your evening wear?
It was a Louis Vuitton once upon a time. This one in particular I'm wearing was a dead man's suit. I was wandering around, the 12th century when they were first designing cravats and ties. I found this thing on a man who wasn't moving. I kicked him a few times. He didn't move, so it was fair game.
Oh, hey, look, look, guys, we got some adipose coming down the red carpet right here. Look at that, that's pretty cool. Hey, everyone, welcome to the red carpet at Gallifrey event. We should have some great people coming down the red carpet here. Matt and I, we've been talking to some really great guests lately. Oh, yeah. Steve.
Yes. Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing that happened.
That's right,
I'm
Steve.
so sorry.
Steve, the Silent, I'm sorry, yes.
Yes.
Of course. No, that's okay. So listen. Is there anyone here that you're hoping to meet?
Well, there's a whole bunch of people. A funny thing about being a silent, you kind of forget everyone you ever met whenever you stop looking at them. I had this best buddy ever. His name was Jerry the Silent, and we was like the best of buds. One day he just stopped talking to me, and I didn't see him for like a second, and I had forgotten he even existed. It took a lot to remember. I even forgot my mother once. That was a terrible day.
All right, well, Steve, it was great talking to you. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Oh, you as well. I gotta go.
Okay, well, we'll see you later in the evening, and let us know if what was I gonna? Oh, sorry. Hey, welcome everyone to the Red Carpet of Gallifrey event. We should have some great guests here tonight, and we will be here all night to make sure we get the interviews with the stars you want. Why is my hand blinking? Guys, did I forget something?
Welcome to the fan question section of the podcast. This is the part of the podcast where what we do is we answer your fan questions. You send us the questions of the things that are burning in your mind, things you want to know from the two dudes of Gallifrey. And what do? Why, we answer them, of course. Taylor, what is this month's question from a fan?
Our question this month comes from Keaton Riley. And he asks, what are you guys' opinions, or what do you guys know about the connection between the Time Lords and the Weeping Angels?
Yes.
Question mark?
The Weeping Lords, the Time Angels,
yes.
The connection. Keaton, there's actually only been one reference to the Time Lords and the Weeping Angels together. And that was during the End of Time, Part 1 at the very end, when Rassilon referred to the dissenters of the opinion in the Time Lord Council to commit to the final sanction, where they made mention they will hold their faces in shame like the Weeping Angels of old, which is really the only time they've actually connected it. We are led to believe for a while that the Weeping Angels are just a very old race, one of the Eternals, one of the ancient races before all the other races began, and they're just now what's left are just legends and a bit of scavengers, I guess, out in the universe somewhere. So I guess it's always possible the Time Lords have encountered them at some point in time, and they're traveling through time. But I don't think there is really like a connection. Like the Time Lords and the Weeping Angels aren't the same people. They're not the same race.
And it almost sounds like it almost sounds either like a bedtime story, like the Weeping Angels of old, you will be put into a deep sleep, like Sleeping Beauty of old, or something like that.
Right.
Or a connection I could see is that the Weeping Angels of old, maybe it was an old punishment that they used to do. They would turn you into a Time Lord. They would turn you into a Weeping Angel if you were something, or something like that.
Well, it's almost like Rassilon was trying to find the best possible thing to make these people feel shame. It isn't just, it's like, okay, you're the only two who disagree with the popular opinion. Now, you two have to stand on one leg, pat your head, rub your belly, and hop up and down whilst reciting the alphabet backwards. I'm evil. And I really think that's all it was. Is he was just trying to make them do something which would make them live in shame. And that's a great way to do it. Is this old nursery rhyme to them? Is the Weeping Angels?
Well, and they had to do it. Yeah, they had to do it for forever, for all eternity, or I guess.
I'm assuming until the final sanction was finished.
Yeah, well, which was like
10 seconds,
in a couple minutes.
Yeah, just do this for a minute or two. You're fine.
Yeah, it's really not a punishment, is it?
Time out, into the corner, and sit there and think about what you've done.
What you've done, and don't come out until you're sorry,
or until we've committed the final sanction and all of reality is destroyed.
Yes.
Either one. Whatever you want.
Yeah, you get to be a heavenly body with us. It doesn't matter.
It's okay, but you're going to feel stupid doing it.
Yeah.
I think that was really all that they were getting to.
Yeah, so, which is interesting, too, because that was written by Russell T. Davies. And the Weeping Angels, that's a Moffat thing.
That is a Moffat thing.
So
that's such a great little reference. Yeah,
so for Russell T. Davies to say, I'm going to take this Moffat thing about the Weeping Angels, because all Moffat said was, 10 knew about them. It didn't seem like a new monster to him. I don't know how long they'd been in 1963, but when I can't think of his name, but when the police officer got there, when he was sent back by the Weeping Angels, Tennant kind of explains, they're the Weeping Angels, they send you back, almost like he knew all about them.
Well, and that could have been things that they taught at the Academy, history of the universe.
Yeah.
Tennant had talked about, when he talked, remember, all the way back when they were doing the Cybermen and the Daleks together at the end of Season 2, and Tennant was talking about the Void, he was talking about the Howling, some people call it the Howling, some people call it the Void, some people call it Hell, and, he's like talking about these things like they're concepts that Time Lords would get. When he talks about the Vashta Narada, they're concepts that Time Lords would get. So, I think that's stuff that's taught to Time Lords about the universe, so they understand it. He might not have ever experienced them before, but then he did, when he was sent back to the 1960s.
Right. So, Keaton, we hope we answered your question. It was a good one. Thanks for sending it in. If anyone else out there would like us to answer their question, ask it in any of the websites we have, Tumblr, Google+, Twitter, Facebook. You can email us, voicesfromthevortex@gmail.com.
Or you can go on to broadcastgallifrey.com, fill out the form there, and send it in to us. We'll get that pretty much right away. So please, by any possible means. And if you have a question and don't ask us, you will hold your face in shame like the Weeping Angels of old.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
And there you have it, the wonderful fan question section of the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard it here first. The two dudes from Gallifrey answering all of your burning questions. We'll see you next time. Yay!
Oh, man.
October is wonderful. We do get the chilly weather, and that's kind of cool. I kind of wish this was still September and our first new podcast, because things are a little warmer. It's a little chilly in here.
Yeah.
But this regeneration is definitely a little chilly. Yeah. Need a sweater. Or a scarf.
A scarf.
Definitely not a scarf.
No way. No, we're past
not
that.
A scarf. We're past that.
So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Next week we got some great stuff, or next month we got some great stuff coming up.
I do believe November is National Dalek Month. So
perfect.
It is perfect, because we got a Dalek or two or three or stuff that's stopping by. I'm kind of excited. I've looked ahead, and it's some interesting things.
You opened a time, Fisher. Just kind of poked your head in.
I did.
Oh, what's going on?
I didn't know a Dalek could wear a hat like that.
No. I think with the ears, the little light ears, it would be hard.
So thanks, guys, for paying attention. We'll have more stuff coming next month, including a review of possibly the greatest Dalek episode ever, which is Genesis of the Daleks.
Yes. We were thinking, let's go in order but then we thought, you know what?
I can't do that much Troughton anymore.
No.
It's time to move on.
We'll come back to him someday. We'll look at some other good ones and
one day he'll be back. Oh yes.
If you really if you really need a Classic Who in order fix, go check out my blog on the Tumblr.
Yeah.
Because I'm reviewing them and I'm kind of going over each one in order. So
just check it out on voicesfromthevortex.tumblr.com, or check them all out on his Taylor's blog tab on broadcastgallifrey.com.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're OCD and need them in order. There you go.
I need to go wash this bikini. I've been wearing it for too long.
Yeah, it's starting to foam.
Maybe that's why I'm so cold.
Yeah, maybe.
Alright, guys, we'll see you next month.
Alright, bye.
So long.
Voices from the Vortex is written, edited by, and starring Taylor Davidson and Matthew Whitecamp.
With Danielle Davidson as the sexy voice of the TARDIS.
Visit our website, www.broadcastgallifrey.com.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel for an enhanced podcast experience.
Follow us on Twitter @Vortex Podcast.
Like us on Facebook.
Follow us on Tumblr and Google+.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, and if you like what you heard, leave a review.
Ask us a fan question through any of these media, and we'll answer it on the podcast.
Thanks for listening, and stay tuned to the Vortex.